I'm Shirley Simmons, and I'm Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. And this is Dr. Jack Green. He is the
I serve with the technology services.
Tech services.
So anything technology, we try to be of assistance to make it work. So.
Awesome. Okay.
But we just have a little bit of information to share with you, a little bit about the iTech initiative and some other information we'll drill down. Again, we'll have an opportunity at the end of the presentation for any additional questions you'd like to have as a group, and then we'll also make ourselves available later this evening, or if you'd like to follow up tomorrow to have an individual one-off conversation. So.
All right, thank you. Okay, so last year, we purchased Macbook Airs for all of our 6th through 12th grade students, and we put more devices in our elementary schools. But that didn't just start in 2017. We actually started planning for this 10 years ago. And this graphic is not one that you can read from where you're sitting, but it just shows some of the highlights of what we've done over the last 10 years to prepare for this. This wasn't something that we just decided in the last bond issue. So, some of the things that we've done, we implemented Moodle, which is a learning management platform, back in 2008. We became Google Apps for, is that the right term now?
G Suite now. It's
Google,
used to be Google Apps. G
Suite, which is Google for our students and our staff. We started that many years ago. We did the Intelligent Classroom, where every classroom in the district got an interactive whiteboard and projectors, and teachers had a variety of technological items that they could use in the classroom. But we decided with the last bond issue that it was time to put devices into students' hands. So in the 2014 bond, we purchased, with those dollars, we purchased the computers for our students that they got last year. So that really changed the landscape in the classroom when every student had a device. And we've put some other things in place along the way for
With iTech, so in addition to whenever Dr. Nick and I joined the team 4.5, 5 years ago, we also needed to update our infrastructure. So we built on the plan that we had for technology, instructional technology, the Intelligent Classroom. So we needed to lay the groundwork. You're all familiar with I-35 and the construction that we have. We needed to make sure we had the infrastructure, that's kind of our catchword of the day, that would support that. We needed to have the network so that the high quality digital rich media could be shared in classrooms and with students. We also needed to have industry leading systems in place, a firewall to help protect our environment from folks that are trying to get in from the outside. We needed to have a filter that would help ensure our devices are filtered off-site at a high level as they are on site. And so this was just trying to help understand the journey that we've taken up to this point, with many leaders in the community helping us get here. NPS personnel, also community leaders, volunteers, leaders at the university and business, and also this journey continues today and will continue many, many, many years down the road.
So in 2009, it was all of the teacher technology, like the system that you see here. 2014 bond, we were going for student technology, but as Dr. Green said, we had a lot of infrastructure that had to be put in place. We didn't want to put devices in students' hands and then the Wi-Fi didn't work, So there was a lot of work that had to be done there.
Then our next slide, bridging the digital divide.
Right. So we purchased 850 iPads for our early learners, those pre-K through first grade students. We put those in the elementary schools. Each classroom has about 5 to 6 devices. The touch screen is a good interactive tool for our younger students. Also in 2nd through 5th grade, we have the Macbook Airs for our students who need more interaction with the computer through a keyboard. And so that was about 11,000 Macbook Airs that went in from 2nd through 12th grade. 6th through 12th grade students each have a MacBook Air checked out to them. And like we said, the internet and Wi-Fi was enhanced.
And a big item to piggyback on Dr. Simmons' comments there, Dr. Simmons had talked about the roadmap of going back to 2008. We could have really gone way back before that, 25 years ago with Dr. and some of you may be familiar with Doc and introducing the first computers into the district. One of the things that was important here, we were very fortunate to have the help and leadership of not only several folks, teachers, students, members of the Norman Public Schools team, but also a 50-plus member of our technology planning committee that really helped us look at what we want student learning and teacher instruction to look like and to sound like, looking at really devices being the last part of that, the ecosystem, the instructional environment, and things of that nature. And so we really wanted to pare this down for you a little bit, but also to give you a little bit of the background of how we got to iTech and what that looked like and sound like in terms of the folks that helped us to get there.
And our teachers have gone through several years now of professional development to prepare them to use the devices in the classroom appropriately for instruction.
Sure. And the next slide where we talk about providing a safe tech environment, we know that we want to ensure that we help our students understand and fulfill their positive potential. And we want to help all teachers tap into all those outstanding instructional resources. But we also know there's that delicate balance. We know that not every resource out there on the internet is appropriate for all kiddos at all grade levels. And we know that not every user on the internet has the best interest of our kiddos and our teachers in mind. And so we also, while that's an ever-moving target, we work with industry leaders, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, to have those systems and procedures in place, people, processes, and technologies to help provide that safe environment for students to learn. And the big thing about this, and the point of this slide, as you see here with the picture of the early 20th century traditional classroom, and then we see some of the different pictures of kiddos today, is that it's not about the technology. That's one of the things that I know when I was a child growing up in Joplin, Missouri, it was a big deal. I remember in 5th grade when we had our Apple II computer, technology was an event. And when it helped us with our remediation or practice with math skills or any of our vocabulary, that was a big event. And I would like to think that wasn't too long ago that I was that 5th grader back at Joplin. It may seem like it was, but it really wasn't that long ago. And then as I moved up through school, the opportunity to have more access to technology and computer labs. And again, computers were still an event. And the whole focus that we have, regardless of what the technology is that's in front of the kiddo, it's not about that technology. Again, it's about that kiddo understanding and fulfilling their positive potential. And so the whole purpose of this was just to share that we're aware of that, and we're aware that each one of our 16,000 kiddos is unique and has their own plan for success and their own unique challenges and strengths and things that they're dealing with as they work to understand and fulfill their positive potential. And if I could, this next slide, this just illustrates. So just bear with me.
Water thin, can't get in, what you running for? Where is it you wanna go? Where is it you wanna go? Overtime, heard it all. What is it you wanna know? Where is it you wanna go? Where is it you wanna go? Where is it you wanna go?
I share that slide because my creativity quotient, I can assure you, is the lowest of everyone in this room. I thought that short video encapsulated, it really summed up in a very short amount of time where we see, in terms of instructional technology, we just simply, it's not about an iPad, it's not about a Mac, it's not about a Chromebook or about a Windows device or anything of that nature. It's about our kiddos. You'll notice that child there, forgive me, Dr. Simmons, I'm kind of taking a deep dive on that. That child was doing things for school. that child was collaborating, was acting on an inspiration where they saw something in the environment that motivated them, where they were drawing a picture. And so we know there are different devices that have different needs, but that really spoke to me about, it's not about the tech, it's not about an iPad or a MacBook, it's really about our kiddos and helping them not simply prepare for end of instruction exams or anything of that nature, but really tapping into their creativity, tapping into the positive possibilities that exist. And I go back to that to help them understand and fulfill their positive potential. So again, you're saying, well, that's an iPad, you only have so many iPads. Again, not about the technology, just about that vision for helping kiddos get where we hope that they will be. So, solutions for student support of student safety and success. Some of you may be familiar, you were able to attend Parent Academy previously. Digital citizenship, that's a big part, and I think we're going to see in the very near future where you're not going to hear it qualified with being digital citizenship. We know that our kiddos from itty bitty like mine, first grade Owen and fourth grade Morgan, all the way up to our high school students at Norman High and Norman North, the environment is ever evolving and helping them understand best practices, also helping them understand safety, but also understanding it's a challenging world out there digitally and also in practice. And so sharing that we have a number of resources in play for all of our kiddos throughout their grade levels to help them develop more awareness and more knowledge and understanding. And really, this isn't a one-time process. This is ongoing, something that's really embedded, that teachers and students are really working together. Because the reason that that's really important to us, and we talk about continuous improvement and protecting our students, technology is created by humans. Technology is fallible, as all of we humans are. It's imperfect. And there's no system or mechanism in place that is 100% perfect. And so that's why we look at, it's about technology, it's about filters and firewalls and device management and those kinds of things. But it's also about education. It's about education for our kiddos, it's about education for educational members of the team, it's about education for parents, because we're all at different places on this continuum. And it's about understanding where we are and what we need and how we can best support our kids. And so the point of this slide was basically just saying, and using those moments that maybe a kiddo has access or goes to a site that just came up yesterday that is not quite right for them, and that's an opportunity for a teachable moment, because not wanting to use it as a hammer necessarily, there are opportunities if we see a pattern of behavior or things of that nature where we need to implement other behavior conversations, but trying to use this as much as possible as a teachable moment.
If you want to know more about digital citizenship in Norman Public Schools, there's a session right across the hall, so if that's something that piques your interest, there's a session on that.
And the next slide, the key takeaway from this, and you'll have to forgive me, lots of really neat things to share and opportunities to collaborate, really taking a team. No one individual can do it all. No one student can do it all. So it really takes a team of us, a team of teachers, a team of educators, a team of IT members, a team of partners. We have a number of folks up here, and this is just a small sample size. We have Lightspeed Systems, which is our internet filter. We have SonicWall, which is our firewall. We have FileWave, which is our mobile device management system. United Systems is one of our many partners that we utilize, because as outstanding as our technology services team is, with 16,000 kiddos and more than 1,200 certified staff, our area of service is very large. And the vision that I have for our team is, if it's technology, we want to take care of it. And more importantly, we want to take care of our end users. And so I just wanted to share this because there are lots of times things evolve very quickly that we need to call upon some of our team members, some of our partners to help us address an item that has occurred.
Okay, so currently our devices in the district all have the same access to various programs on the device. And about 6 months ago, we started moving towards having differentiated or different levels of access depending on the age of our students. And what that would involve is that elementary school students would see one set of programs on the computer, middle school another, and high school another. In the past year, we've had a few parents who've needed to make some requests, or due to some special needs of students, we've had to turn some things off. And Tech Services has, they have worked with those parents on an individual basis and customized the access that students have. But we decided it would be best if we could have those varied levels of access for elementary students, 6th grade students, 7th and 8th graders, and high school. So we are close to being able to roll that out, but due to some changes that Apple's making in some updates to a new operating system, we are postponing that until all of those, all the ins and outs of the new update are worked out, so that when we do it, it's done correctly.
And thank you, Dr. Simmons. Yes, and thank you very much, Dr. Simmons. So if you have a specific need or something of that nature, I would still, we'll have some information here for you today so that you can contact our help desk, and we'll start that process for you tomorrow on an individual case-by-case basis to continue what we've been doing over the last period of time. What Dr. Simmons is referencing here is where we're doing all those devices at one time. And just to get in the details there a little bit, Mojave, if you're familiar with the Mac operating system, that's the newest version. It just was released literally today. Now, we've been testing that on the back end behind the scenes for the last several months, but that's one of those things. In addition to Mojave being released, we have lots and lots of systems and procedures. Anytime you're doing more than one of anything, much less 11,000 of something that's as big of an update of that, there are some logistics involved with that. And so, yes, we will be working to update those devices throughout the year, but we're very sensitive to the needs that you have today individually in here, and other parents that may be out there that are viewing this later that have a question, and we want to be very responsive. We're a service organization in terms of tech services, and we want to meet your needs. So on that individual case-by-case basis, if you have that, if you're watching this later on, or if you have a question today, we'll have a mechanism so you can begin that process today, tomorrow.
And Dr. Bean, you might want to give just a brief explanation of why they don't have parental controls on the devices.
Sure.
That's a question we get a lot.
Some of you may have parental controls at home where you've purchased a device for parents, and that's something, and that's something too that Apple has continued to update, trying to be a leader in the field, work as some other vendors and partners are. The device that you purchased at home from Amazon or from Apple or from another vendor, the device is managed by you, and you have a number of levels of access, the parental controls. The device that we have here is managed through FileWave, and that's one of those things that we're not able to open up and to turn on to give individual parents administrative access on that. That's why from my chair I work so diligently, and our team works so diligently to understand and meet parents where they are. If there are some things that we need to manage differently than how we do by default. So I know if you've worked with the Apple environment, whether it's an iPad or a Mac, and you've utilized parental controls in the past, the straightforward question is, hey Greg, can I just get that parental controls password and I can do everything I need to do? And that's the item where we'll say, well, here's what we can do for you. Let's have a conversation so we can understand what your specific needs are, and we'll make that happen within the environment and the systems that we have in place there. So thank you, Dr. Simmons. That was a great item.
So we have some various levels of access that will be coming in the next couple of months. We'd hoped that they could be in place at the beginning of this school year, but you know, with the Mojave update, that wasn't possible. But just so you know what is coming, for our elementary students and our 6th grade students, they will not have access to messages, FaceTime, AirDrop, and for all students, we've turned off Firefox. That's already done.
That's already turned off.
And the App Store also will not be available to our elementary students.
And we have an NPS kiosk where we have resources that we're evaluating. So we have an NPS App Store that we utilize so that we can help implement those resources for our students.
So apps that have been vetted by the teachers and the technology team will show up in that
Sure.
in that kiosk. Also, we have a few different things that are available for our students. For elementary, 6th grade, and other middle school students, they will not have access to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat, Netflix, Yahoo, or Google Translate. And our high school students will have Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Again, they've gone through some digital citizenship training. We feel like that they're mature enough to start making good decisions there, unless there are issues, and then we can restrict a student's access to those things. Netflix is turned off district-wide, except we have it says special there for Netflix, and the reason for that is we do have a film is literature class that we've turned Netflix on for, just like a class of students, because they're viewing films for that course. So.
And I do apologize for the small table of that, but we just wanted to give you, I'm very visual, even though it may be just to kind of have an idea of all the things that try to look at to make.
Do you want to mention Google Translate and then also Firefox?
Sure.
Why those are
Sure. Firefox, Google Translate, even though we're a G Suite district and we partner with Google and we have a number of things, Google Docs and Google Sheets and Google Slides, there are some tools within the Google environment that are a little bit more of a challenge to manage, and in terms of potentially students be exposed to sites that may not be just right for them, or that could get to content that would not be appropriate for them. And so we utilize another Translate resource in lieu of Google Translate at this time, and that's an ever-evolving process, and Google is aware of that, and so that may change in the future, but that's one of those resources. Even though we've talked about the few resources here that are limited in access or that are not accessible in terms of Firefox at this time, our vision really is we want kiddos to have access to resources, again, to help them with their instructional journey. It's just only whenever we need to manage those, or for the safety of them, or for access in terms of grade level appropriateness. Looking to the future, that's one of the important things for us. Sometimes folks, hey, we have more devices for kiddos, yay, everything's great. That continuous improvement process is something that's been a part of the Norman community culture and our Norman Public Schools culture since I started 20 years ago. So as we look to the future, it's ongoing hardware refresh, software refresh, the capacity building for team members, professional learning for teachers. What that means is, as the environment evolves, as instructional resources evolve, as the tools that we have evolve, continuing to stay updated, the professional learning that is a part of that, because again, it's not about the technology, it's not about the device, it's really about what we're trying to accomplish, what kiddos are creating, how they're acquiring knowledge, developing understanding, and applying that. And so the other thing that I think that we look at, and this is what a beautiful representation of the last item, continuing to reimagine and transform spaces for teaching and learning. And that is thanks to the support of our community, where this wonderful structure that we have at Norman High School continues to be not only relevant and useful, but an amazing space for our kiddos. Many of you may have walked through the very doors at Norman High School in its current iteration, and now we're enjoying this space even more as we continue to move forward. So the parent resources that we had referenced just a moment ago, this slide has that help desk phone number, and not only for today. If it's saying, hey, my kiddo, I really like to start that process of having those levels of access as soon as possible. I know you're going to be updating it throughout the year, but I'd really like to start that conversation tomorrow. The email that we have, in case it maybe is a little hard to read, is helpdesk, all one word, at norman.k12.ok.us. And we're also fortunate we have a team member, a couple team members that help support our technology help desk, our NPS help desk, and that phone number, if you would prefer to call to talk to someone rather than sending an email, that phone number, and will create a request, a technology work request, technology work order, and they'll start that process, and someone will call you to follow up. That phone number is area code 405 366-0536. And we have iTech help desks at each of our 4 middle school sites and each of our 2 high school sites, but you'll notice I didn't share their phone numbers because that's primarily where staff and students will come in, and if they have an issue with a device, they'll bring that in. For parents, we really want to make that easier for you, so we have that one email, that one phone number, and then if there's anything, let's say for example, a kiddo, somehow maybe a screen gets broken or something of that nature, feel free to call that district help desk, and then we'll be happy to put you in touch if you would have a question or a comment with the respective school site help desk. Moving to the next resource, I know I want to be very mindful of time, and I tend to be a little bit wordy, so you'll have to forgive me for that. I don't want to make you late for another seminar. If you haven't visited there yet, the Norman Public Schools homepage, which is normanpublicschools.org, there's a tab in the upper left-hand corner, it goes across the top, that says Parents. And when you click on Parents, there's a link called Technology, and it takes you to the iTech website that has lots of information about iTech in our school district and lots of other resources that you can visit, some really useful information. And also has links to the help desk that we had talked about just a moment ago. And so I know time is of the essence, and so Dr. Sims, I just wanted to say thank you for attending. We truly appreciate everything that you do for your kiddos as we work with them, and thank you for making time this evening. And we do have an opportunity with a form. We would love to hear any feedback from you via the form, or if you'd like to visit with us after this evening's over, or tomorrow. If you want to talk to Dr. Sims or myself, if you call the help desk, they'll make that happen. They'll put in touch or whatever we need to do.
This link is on the page that got passed around. If you'll just leave those when you are done, but if you can go to that on your phone and then give us some feedback.